Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking one of the most, well, sobering events in human history, the true story of Pompeii. It's this incredible tale of a thriving Roman city that literally vanished completely beneath volcanic ash nearly 2,000 years ago, only to become, ironically, one of humanity's absolute greatest historical discoveries.
Imagine waking up to a perfectly normal day. You have your routine, your family, your community around you. The markets are opening up, the sun is shining, and then, by nightfall, your entire city is just gone forever, completely erased. For the people of Pompeii, this wasn't some hypothetical nightmare or a movie plot. This was their terrifying reality.
So the crucial point is, to really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this tragedy, you have to realize that 20,000 people called Pompeii home. That's a massive number for the time. This wasn't just some tiny, insignificant outpost in the middle of nowhere. It was a wealthy, thriving Roman city situated right on the beautiful Bay of Naples. It literally anchored the lives of thousands of people and was a major center of life in the ancient Roman Empire.
And before the disaster struck, Pompeii was an absolute crown jewel of luxury. Families there enjoyed a highly prosperous life. Picture this, lounging in sprawling public baths, being entertained in grand theaters, and shopping in incredibly busy markets. I mean, they even had ancient versions of fast food counters right out on the streets. And because it was surrounded by this incredibly rich volcanic soil, they grew perfect grapes and olives. It was just a vibrant, peaceful, totally normal community.
But there was this massive shadow hanging over all this prosperity. The citizens of Pompeii truly believed they lived in a permanently safe, peaceful environment. But just a few kilometers away stood Mount Vesuvius. And the truly terrifying part about all this? The Romans at the time didn't even have a word for volcano. Seriously, no word for it. Vesuvius hadn't erupted in centuries, so to them, it was just this beautiful green mountain in the background. They were totally, blissfully unaware of the ticking geological time bomb sitting right next door.
Let's move to Pompeii and see how this builds, because that illusion of permanent safety shattered on a late summer day. August 24th, AD 79. Seemingly out of nowhere, the ground began to shake violently. The peaceful routine of Pompeii was abruptly interrupted by tremors, signaling the start of a disaster that, honestly, no one could have possibly prepared for. You can only imagine the tension in the air. It must have been absolutely suffocating, as they started to realize something was very wrong.
And the situation escalated with terrifying speed. We're talking a real ticking clock scenario here. In the morning, you had these minor tremors, but by the afternoon, Vesuvius erupted with unbelievable, earth-shattering force. A giant column of rock and ash just blotted out the sun, literally plunging the entire city into pitch darkness in the middle of the day. And then, just hours later, came the climax. Deadly clouds of superheated gas and volcanic debris rushed down the mountain at hundreds of miles per hour, completely destroying everything in their path.
As this heavy ash and rock began raining down, crushing rooftops left and right, those 20,000 citizens were forced into making split-second, impossible decisions. It's heartbreaking to think about. Many panicked, naturally, and tried navigating blindly through the falling debris in a desperate attempt to flee the city. But others, perhaps too terrified to run or maybe thinking they were safer indoors, chose to barricade themselves inside their homes, desperately hoping the nightmare would simply pass over them.
Tragically, there was just no escaping that final wave of superheated gas. In less than 24 hours, the wealthy, prosperous city of Pompeii was completely erased. It was swallowed whole beneath several meters of heavy, suffocating volcanic ash. The homes, the busy markets, the people, all of it, just gone in a single day.
So, where exactly did an entire city go? This brings us to a massive historical mystery, because following the eruption, Pompeii was just gone. For centuries, the world moved on, and eventually no one even knew exactly where this once great city had been located. The ash had swallowed it up so completely. It really makes you wonder, how does an entire bustling metropolis just vanish from human memory?
Well, the answer lay hidden for nearly 1,700 years. Actually, it wasn't until the 18th century that archaeologists finally began digging down through those thick layers of earth and time. And let me tell you, what they uncovered beneath all that ash absolutely shocked the entire world. After centuries in the dark, Pompeii was finally seeing the light of day again.
And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible paradox of the eruption. The exact same deadly volcanic ash that completely destroyed Pompeii, it also acted as a perfect, airtight time capsule. When archaeologists dug down, they didn't just find some broken, ancient roads and ruined temples.
They found vibrant, untouched wall paintings. They found everyday objects entirely frozen in place. I mean, they literally found loaves of bread still sitting in the ancient ovens, perfectly preserved for 2 millennia. It gave us this totally unprecedented, crystal-clear window into exactly what everyday Roman life was really like.
But among all the beautiful buildings and fascinating artifacts, the most profound discoveries were, without a doubt, the victims themselves. Over time, the bodies of those who perished decayed, which left human-shaped voids inside the hardened volcanic ash. Archaeologists eventually developed a technique to pour liquid plaster into these empty spaces. And what came out? Well, these plaster casts perfectly revealed the exact final poses and moments of the people who died that day. It is a deeply solemn, really heavy realization when you look at these casts and see a mother holding a child or a person desperately trying to shield their face.
These casts represent real people, real families. 2,000 of them have been found so far. And looking at them across a massive gap of 2 millennia creates this intensely powerful, deeply human connection. It reminds us in the most visceral way that the people of the Roman Empire were exactly like us. They were driven by the exact same fears and the exact same desperate instinct to protect the ones they loved.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how Pompeii's legacy represents 2 totally extreme realities all at once. On one hand, it is a devastating tragedy, an entire city and its people violently wiped out by nature in a single day. Yet simultaneously, it's one of the greatest historical gifts ever given to humanity. It preserved the raw reality of ancient human civilization in a way that, frankly, nothing else on Earth ever could.
And because of that incredible preservation, Pompeii is far from a lost city today. Actually, it is bustling with life once again. Millions of visitors travel to Pompeii every single year just to walk through these ancient streets. People from all over the world come to witness this remarkable place firsthand, to stand in the actual homes, look at the art, and of course, pay their respects to the citizens who lost their lives on that terrible August day.
The story of Pompeii is ultimately a stark reminder of the sheer, uncontrollable power of the natural world. So I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap up this explainer. If nature can completely erase and at the same time perfectly preserve human history in a single day, what does that teach us about our own world and the fragility of the lives we build today? It's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible true story from the ancient world, and I highly encourage you to keep diving into the mysteries of our past.